Content warning. This video implies that we believe Joe Biden is single-handedly and clearly won the 2020 presidential election, and the theories involving the steal of the election peddled by Donald Trump and his followers are merely conspiracy theories and lies. In this video, we cover a doomwad which contains copious amounts of xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, sexism, conspiracy theories, and outright far-right propaganda. If that clearly unnerves you, avoid watching this video immediately. Sup freak bitches, JMAA here. Shit, do you guys remember when Trump ran for president in 2016?
I am officially running for president of the United States, and we are going to make our country great again.
You see, back when I was a dummy dum-dum, I praised the fuck out of this guy. Even made a couple music tracks about him in celebration of his 2016 election victory, because of all the triggered libs, all the tears. And while that's somewhat true of that some people cried over Trump winning, I mean, just look at the mainstream SCW compilations of liberals crying over Trump winning. It was somewhat funny back then. But you can admit that this 4 years of presidency didn't age any well. And it truly shows how unhinged his surrounded far-right propaganda is. The Ben Garrison cartoons, for instance, I mean, just look at it. What the fuck is this shit? What was Ben Garrison smoking when he made his shit? Of course, this entire shit didn't age well in the 4 years that Trump was president. 4 years later, Biden will win the election without any trace of fraud, and they will still try to fuck shit up in the Capitol. But hey, it's the libtards who get angry all the time and cry, right? But amongst the poll memes, the propaganda, and the god-awful Ben Garrison cartoons, there was one doomwad that served as a propaganda first and gameplay and aesthetics as an afterthought. Trump Doom. Oh yeah, kids, now it's our chance to both review an awful doomwad and bash the fash at the same time. So buckle up, kids, we're going back to 2016. So, you know you got 4 difficulty settings in Trump Doom, right? Let's all play Social Justice Warrior because I guess I'm one of those and it really fits me because I'm neither Republican or actual President Trump. So let's get into it. Something's not right. Am I supposed to kill this zombie man with this water gun? Okay, no. This is definitely not the way we play it. This water is supposed to be for manly men like Trump. So we're playing on the President Trump difficulty. Are you a man enough to make America great again? I mean, yeah, sure, I swallow Brain Force Plus every day to fund Alex Jones's hunger for Rolex watches, so sure. I fucking die a lot in this one. So yeah, turns out we're gonna play one step below and play in the cowardly, boomer-dominated and out-of-touch Republican difficulty. As you can see, Trump Doom tries only so hard to be at first like Duke Nukem 3D. You got your spice of interactivity there, making a realistic environment like Lying Ted's Casino. You don't want to know what kind of shit Ted Cruz has got himself into right now. And also, the mod lets you know that you gotta jump to reach certain particular secrets, like this one with a chain gun, shotgun, and soul sphere. First level might be a cakewalk compared to the rest, but when you start playing the second, there's particularly glaring problems, including... Let me get one thing straight, folks. Trump Doom is stingy with health pickups. And especially ammo if you be damned to play every level with pistol start. You know how the health bar, instead of saying health, says American, right? Well, most of the while you're gonna be like 10% American, which is pretty accurate of what Donald Trump really is. Most of the time you're gonna have to face hit scanner hell. And I'm not even exaggerating with that. Especially with these super shotgun guys who can easily take a whole chunk of your American health if you get too close to them. Fuck them. And either way, most levels are limited to spread a few stim packs here and there with the occasional medikit, and thank God for those medikits. Mostly every level ends up with Trump's speech podium, which is the exit, like Trump ends every level giving his infamous speeches. On occasions, you'll see a lot of meme propaganda posters plastered on the walls of the levels. Like, I don't know, Ben Garrison cartoons, awful Trump memes, Hillary supporter party propaganda.
Surrender or die!
Oh no, you've been trapped by Bernie Sanders. Let me say this, Bernie Sanders is probably the best candidate out there if it wasn't for the fact that he's getting thrown under the bus by Democrats all the time. I think Communist Grandpa is good. However, this mod paints him as the bad kind of Communist Grandpa here. Later levels after you escape from Bernie's prison will be you chasing after Bernie. It introduces you to one of the prime hit scanner enemies of Trump Doom, the Democrat Trooper, which is basically a Wolfenstein SS soldier painted in gray. I'm not getting the implications of this. Maybe it's that weird far-right dog whistle about how anti-fascists are the real Nazis or something. Something which I don't agree on because, you know, I know a real Nazi when I see them. Later on, you have to fight Bernie and somehow it's sort of a rather easy boss fight for this kind of difficulty level. For which, when Bernie dies, he just poofs into this lame explosion.
Fucking roll!
Of course, I gotta talk about this new weapon, the Trump finger. You know, the finger that goes,
"You're fired."
And its top-notch accuracy and pretty useful to snipe down high-tier enemies. The only problem is, ammo is mostly scarce for it. You rarely see cells, and by the way, this weapon still uses plasma cells somehow for the Trump finger, especially when you most need it. Until a certain point, where we'll get at later. After Bernie, all you're just basically doing is finding clues of Hillary's whereabouts, right? And in the process, you go into levels which are pretty much stuff like Trump's HQ and shit, which makes you wonder, why the hell Trump will shoot his own supporters? I mean, look at this. No. Let me tell you something, if this comes from 8-Ball, that means this war can be worse than what I thought it could be. But look at this man, Kibbles. Most likely looking at a Trump supporter, right? Well, you kill him. That shows that not even Trump likes his own supporters. Really telling of Trump's true intentions, right? Okay, Donald, don't sue me. I know you're not just a manipulative politician asshole who's using a supporter base on the conservative and right-wing to cheat his way into having a spot to steal taxpayer money for his own biases and sexpades. So please, Trump, take this with a grain of salt. Ugh, why the hell am I being that honest? And these levels aren't the worst, but Trump HQ especially shows that some levels require some tedious, useless exploration to figure out where the essential items like keys are. And you have to survive all that with barely any health. Call me Sipscum, right? But if you're honestly pistol starting every level of Trump Doom, I think you're either a masochist or you're like the Sino here. But you supposedly finally find out Hillary's whereabouts and... You get into the most tedious and most offensive level of them all, Hillary's campus. You know, this level pretty much screams that Trump might be a potential school shooter. Almost every instance of anyone making a Doom level out of a university campus, or college campus, or high school, or school in general, 9 out of 10 cases end up being the training simulations for potential school shooters. Look at Dylan Klebold and Eric Harris, right? They made a alleged Doom map of their own Columbine High School, right? Look how that turned out. They're sick in the head, and I assume, and I am free to assure, that nearly all of the people making Doom levels based on their academic building are also sick in the head. We've all been through the discussion about video games not provoking gun violence. But people who are mentally ill, the truly awful big pharma and mental health care of America, and especially far-right dingbats who defend the Second Amendment like it was the Holy Bible, surely are the ones provoking school shootings. And Trump surely did nothing about it, and this map only reminds me so far about it. Thanks for nothing, Trump. You orange-faced, small-handed, dim-witted, lobby-sucking woman predating greaseball of a god-awful failure of a president and real estate tycoon. Oh yeah, remember when Trump was just a real estate tycoon? They even have posters in some levels about this Donald Trump real estate tycoon video game. You know, that game about how much of a failure at real estate business Trump was? I hope they condemn Trump Tower in NYC. You end up finding Hillary's Democrat HQ, this hellish evil villain castle in the middle of the sea of lava. And I know what you're thinking as a dear viewer of mine. This is just some Alex Jones tier propaganda. And you're right. Hillary's base is chock full of posters about how she's big sister of Big Brother like in 1984. This satanic Hillary chapel where I died multiple times trying to get rid of the fucking archvile. Let me tell you one thing I hate. These ambushes behind the corners of doors at certain rooms. Unless you're safe scum like me, good luck figuring out who's behind the door ambushes without quick saving. Mostly they're composed of hit scanners in the late levels and they're annoying. It's not like the author of this WAD cleverly puts these in a few parts of the whole WAD, right? But he uses it at least once per level and it gets really old. There's this final part before the ending where you fight these Trump clones. Oh yeah, let me tell you about the Trump clones, which way back they were just scattering some parts of the levels and attack you with a Trump finger shit that deals a lot of damage. Once you see one of those, you just be quick or be dead. Well, imagine painstakingly dealing with these Trump clones in a room full of them, and then you probably forgot to quick save early so you die like a moron. Yeah, I know that feeling. Oh, thank God for these medkits. Yes, please, more of these, across more levels. I had to fight the cyber demon with a super shotgun and then deal with a famous 1984 room full of monsters when I shot my BFG. The BFG ball went all straight up because the auto aim just went for this fucking alarm beacon on the ceiling like it always does.
Fucking roll!
And yes, the 1984 room from the Apple computer commercial from 1984. Because, you know, for conservatives, Hillary is not just a demon, but big sister and a communist and Satan incarnate and the worst thing ever since Pokemon Go to the polls. I mean, I gotta admit, that was so out of touch even for Democrats. Like, every politician, including Trump, is so out of touch like this. No exceptions. Unless we get a millennial or a Zoomer politician soon enough. It's off to fight Hillary. This is where they automatically give you the Trump finger ammo cells because it directly gives you the hint of how you should fight her. I mean, this is just purely foolproof at this point. You push Hillary with a Trump finger raised into the pit of lava, that's it. How long haven't I seen one single MAGA sphere? And don't ask me to find the secrets, because the secrets in this WAD are some of the dumbest, thoughtless shit I've ever seen. I mean, this thing at Hillary's base with a rocket launcher doesn't even look like a secret. You shoot at Hillary's coughing mouth for a few times with a Trump finger here and have to deal with the rest of monsters. And yes, we're dealing with an icon of Saint clone tier shit here. I have been cheating Resurrect twice because I couldn't even bother quick loading after being telefragged twice by the spawning monsters. But I did it! I beat Hillary!
You're fired.
The fight is finally over as Hillary's fortress begins to crumble and the evil starts to slowly dissipate and fade from existence. The corrupted people who sought power surely won't be returning anytime soon. I mean, this is coming from the fatso who's known for cheating an election, the Republican Party, the real estate business, the taxes, his wife, and golf, but whatever. The 45th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump, has a nice ring to it, don't you think? No, it doesn't. Let me tell you why. I know it was funny at first, right? With all the trigger lips and crying SJWs, Ben Shapiro style, and all that shit. But for 4 years going as president, Trump has done everything and anything to further plunge America down into some serious shithole of a fucked up timeline. It's not that disappointing Hillary Clinton was good either. Anyway, after all, Bernie was the better one. But anything at this point is better than Trump. Even Biden. And you know who Biden is. After all the indefensible shit Trump has done, after the riots, after George Floyd's murder by police, after the mismanagement of COVID-19, and after all of this shit, it's no wonder why people like me will jump shit from his lip-tart triggering train. And in the famous words of a certain white supremacist meme cartoon, don't ride a train if you don't know where it's headed to. That's the Trump train. And so far, it looks like a train wreck. And I'm glad it is a train wreck. The 46th President of the United States of America, Joseph Biden, has a nice ring to it, don't you think? I mean, you know the 45th ended up sending his goons to the Capitol to wreck shit up, right?